I have the pleasure of introducing one of my college friends, best friends and family friend, Professor Bhagirath Panda, presently Professor and Dean, School of Economics, Management and Information Science, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong. He is the former faculty of IIM Shillong, and he is an Asian Fellow of Asian Scholarship Foundation. He was with IIT Bangkok, he was with Thammasat University, Thailand, and he has more than 27 years of teaching and research experience. He has guided 11 PhD and published more than 50 research articles in reputed journals. I won't take much time. We have so many speakers. Over to you, Professor Panda.
Am I audible? Ravi,
Yes.
am I audible?
Yes, please continue.
Okay. So thank you so much, Professor Subudhi. I know who happens to be a very close friend of mine from the college days, and there's a lot actually. I think I wouldn't like to share it here in the public platform. So it's a pleasure to be with you, your organization, who are chapter of Bhubaneswar and your management institute. And I thank your university, your vice chancellor, pro vice chancellor, registrar, and particularly the director actually who has given a very impactful lecture during his presentation. So with these words, I think I will just start my presentation. Before that, before I share my screen, my PowerPoint, I
Yes,
just want
you can do it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, is it visible? Is it visible?
No, not share. Please share it.
Okay, yeah. Is it visible now?
Please share the screen share option.
Yeah.
Please see the bottom of the screen, green light, share screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Is it visible now?
No, dear, not yet share.
Just.
Yes.
Is it visible now?
1 second. Yes.
Okay. Why it's not going? Okay. Is it visible now? Is it visible?
Please continue.
Okay. So basically, what I would be, presenting here is about a development economist perspective. I think my previous speakers have brought out very, I think, specific issues with respect to the impact of this pandemic. I would be more general, but then having an insight of a development economist. I think it was long back actually. It was the Australian economist Joseph Schumpeter who coined this word, what he calls actually creative destruction. And what he meant by it, that economies grow, particularly capitalist economies, they grow through a process of insistent or continuous innovation in products, processes, through which actually the existing arrangement in all these things get destroyed and new arrangements are put in place. And it is through this arrangement, this creative destruction, that economies grow, jobs are created. Now, the present situation which has, is visible now, which has arisen because of this pandemic, I think it resembles that kind of a, Schumpeterian arrangement. Although the Schumpeterian arrangement was conscious, a certain decision to have creative destruction, here it is thrust upon, it is in a sense actually unwanted, and in a sense also it can be said sudden. So that's why the next question is, I mean to say, does it present an opportunity to all of us, to the society, to the economy? And if at all it presents an opportunity, does it come with some associated cost? So that also I would be discussing. What are the associated costs, the social, the economic, and other types of cost? So let me start with the opportunity. I think Professor Subudhi, is the screen visible there? Is the screen visible?
Yes, please continue, continue.
Okay,
Please.
okay. So basically what we see, uh, the opportunities, I think we can all find it out in the economic, the social spaces. And and also this may add post-pandemic to the depth and to the adaptability of the digital life that we are going to live, I think, henceforth. Uh, it's not that actually we didn't have a digital life before the onset of this pandemic. We had started living digital in terms of whether it's our teaching by using internet, email, WhatsApp, Facebook, students, teachers, health professionals, everybody, media people, everybody actually in some magnitude, they started using, these digital platforms to live digital, to undertake that services and production activities digital. But post-pandemic, what's going to happen is that this would, I think, increase the depth and then the adaptability part with respect to these activities. Now, and then the new normal that we are talking of, I think that would present a plethora of activities in the economic space, in the social space, whether it's production, whether it is different kind of services. I think those opportunities, I think, will be there itself. So with that, actually, let me just specify some of the, I think, expected benefits and then thereafter the challenges. So the new normals qualify providing our digital life will have their benefits as well as challenges. The benefits that I can foresee will be in the form of this reduction in the transaction, transportation, and travel cost. Second, there will be some kind of convergence and benchmarking in standards of production, teaching, and other kinds of services. And third, because of the reduction in the information asymmetry, or what you call, for example, this lack of information, there would be some improvement in the availability of information, which would also lead to better access of the citizen to different kind of government and other kinds of services. And the fourth one, which I expect, would be a better and efficient integration of technology in digital space, seamless integration of technology in the digital space, having its own benefits also. Now, let me start with specifically the transaction cost. As we all understand as economists and development practitioners, the transaction cost arises basically at the micro level because of, let's say, for example, not so well-defined property rights. The transaction cost increases basically because of, let's say, for example, absence of enforcement contract, efficient enforcement of contract arrangements. It also arises because of high negotiation cost. And then it has, so there are also macro, variables or macro features, macro things which also, bring up this high transaction cost. But let me just confine to this micro level transaction cost. With the, I think with what the pandemic has done, some other, I believe it will give a push, although it's a pandemic disruption, but that pandemic disruption is having the possibility of turning into a kind of Schumpeterian creative destruction. So I think that's what actually I can visualize. So what would happen actually, as it exists now, for many of our activities, production, services activities. Let's take, for example, the teaching. In teaching, for example, will be used, say, to start a school or college, I would require some kind of property, some building, some physical space. Now, in the times to come, maybe the requirement of this kind of physical space will go down. will be minimized. So in a sense, that would help to, I think, overcome the problem of undefined property rights, which is present in many parts of the country, particularly the region where I live, that's Northeast India. Getting a property for business or any kind of endeavor is very, very difficult in the northeastern parts of the country. So that's one thing which I visualize will be positive impact of this pandemic. Then even because pandemic could allow more of integration in the digital space, and that has the potential to reduce the information asymmetry. And when that happens, the negotiation cost, which is very important in any business undertaking, I hope will go down. That's number two. Number three, the enforcement of contract. Normally, as I see in the Northeast, and it's also applicable in other parts of our country, the enforcement of contract is an essential part of business activity. And with more of information flowing, then this has the potential to reduce the cost of enforcement of contracts in business and other kinds of uh, you know, dealings. Then the other part is that because of this pandemic, I think many of these conferences, whether it's business, academic, or otherwise also media related, I think that would be undertaken in the digital space. So all these are having their own impact in reducing the travel and the transportation costs. I think some of the best examples we can have from our own academic world. In my university, and so also I think it must have happened that we have undertaken, or you must have undertaken, a number of PhD vivas these days online. And so that's the kind of thing which is there in offering, having significant reduction in transportation and travel cost. Then the other thing which I expect would be in terms of benchmarking of standards. These benchmarks can happen in the production space, in teaching, in other kinds of economic activities. For example, we as teachers, as we discuss here, I mean, say we will be under tremendous kind of compulsion. I think, and also sometimes also it's our urge that we go for, I think, better integration of the technology and compete with teachers all across the world. So that benchmarking of standards will be one of the, I think, positive impact or effect of this pandemic disruption. Then I expect also out of this kind of an arrangement, some best practices can come out, which would ultimately lead to expanding the choice space of the students and the quality requirements of the students when it comes to teaching. The same thing can happen also in the production and other services space. And information asymmetry reduction is another fallout of this kind of pandemic disruption. And the other thing which I expect would be, because when you go more digital and the depth in the digital life gets enhanced and becomes more efficient, the interface between citizen and the government in terms of different kind of accessing different kind of services, banking, airlines, railways, registration of vehicles, properties, birth and death passports, birth and death certificates, passports, land and property registration, entertainment, name a few. All these I think the citizens will have better access with their service providers and with the government in particular. Then the last one, which I expect in terms of the positive impact of this pandemic disruption, is all about seamless integration of technology. And I think my previous speakers have already spoken about it. I will just skip it. I will straight to some of the challenges that we expect, some of those costs that are associated with this kind of pandemic disruption. The first thing, as I think Professor Saswat and others have spoken about it, I anticipate a very significant reduction in what we call, for example, social capital. Just look at actually the university as a space. The university is not just for actually, I think, classroom teaching. It's a space which gives it develops the inclusive character of the person and students. So many of these things, there are sports activities, there are debating activities, there are extension activities, they would be deprived of it. So that in a sense actually diminish the magnitude of social capital formation required in any society for its, I think, comprehensive development or inclusive development. Then it would lead to mental health, as many of us will understand. It has already started manifesting, and many of us read the newspapers and and come across these kind of situations, leading in extreme cases to suicides also. So that and it is in that mental health problem all of us can foresee. And the other one is about the frictional unemployment. I still call it frictional because it may not last long, because every creative destruction also, and this pandemic, if I can call it as a creative destruction, it can be turned up with creative destruction, then it has the potential in the long run to create more jobs. But in the short period, short run, maybe in the medium run, what you can find, there will be loss of jobs. It has already happened. There will be loss of jobs, and huge loss of jobs have already happened. But I think once the economy is revived, we can get back some of these jobs. May not be exactly the same kind of jobs. The nature of jobs will change, and jobs will become more, for example, contractual. Jobs will become more project oriented. So there will be a change in the nature of the jobs. Definitely, we all expect that. Then the biggest challenge will be on the requirement of technology. I think as it stands today, we don't have in our country, I think, very efficient internet network. And that's where actually the pressure comes on the government and also service providers. And unless we have that kind of an arrangement, it will be difficult for us to actually very efficiently get some of the enlisted benefits that I have spoken about in future. Then finally, how do we actually, as I can say in terms of my concluding remarks, the manifestations of the social and economic cost and the associated cultural shock that it is going to have the potential to significantly alter the practice of the very idea and practice of institutions like university, college, or even government office and even a farm also. Then what's our response as a society? To be pragmatic, do not have any escape from this imminent digital life. Digital life has come to stay, and I think it's not going to diminish. The only thing which you can expect is that this pandemic disruption will certainly push for some kind of intense Schumpeterian destruction. I think it was Subrot and also Arpan both were hinting at with specific examples. The kind of things are, I think, in offing. So I think that would certainly, I can put it in the language of Schumpeter, that it would lead to or give a push to more of Schumpeterian destruction. Then ultimately, what as a society we need to do? So as a society, our prudence lies in making efforts to minimize the social and the economic, I think, cost, and also this cultural shock that's associated with it, and to maximize on the benefits that I have enlisted here itself. And then for that, we need to improve upon our internet connectivity and integrating technology seamlessly without basically or fundamentally jettisoning or giving up our, I think, our core values, that is human beings and the human and the societal, the human and the social in us should ultimately also be kept intact. Otherwise, I think that will be the loss of society, that will be the loss of mankind. So we require a very, very, I think, efficient calibration so that we maximize on the intended benefits and we reduce on the cost. But then there is no escape from the digital life. With these
Thank
words,
you.
I think I
Thank
thank
you,
the
dear.
organizer, Professor Subhuti, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all.